everyone, good morning and welcome to today's market color session. My name is Sabi Abi and I'll be taking the first part of today's analysis, which will be covering commodity currencies. And by that, I mean AUD USD, NZD USD, and USD CAD. Shortly after which, my colleague Dewala is going to come and cover his part on indices. So good to have every one of you here. I see a couple of us online. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Please share this link with someone, one person, two people, so that more people get benefits from what we do over here at the VFT Academy on a daily basis. With that being said, let's just look at what the chart is currently doing. Oh, awesome. That's nice. Good to know, Ayoba. Hi, Kaladi. Good morning. Okay, so looking at AUD USD, I'm just going to go ahead and delete all these previous lines on the chart so we do not get confused by too many lines, right? So taking all of that out. Okay, so a comment. Hi, Aywa, good morning. Okay, so H4, what are we saying? We're looking at AUD USD now. Whether you trade indicators or you trade price action, market structure, you can see that price has or had been buying consecutively to the upside, right? And then we saw this sunshine printed. Okay, so I know some of us might be wondering already, especially those of us that are just joining for the first time. You might be wondering what all the lines on the chart are. These are indicators. So please don't allow them confuse you. What you want to take note of is the price point, right? This is a custom indicator that just our students have. So if you don't have it, it is fine. Please just take note of the price point on the right-hand side, add it to your analysis and make do of this information as you wish, right? Okay, so I'm looking at H4 now, and the first thing I've noticed is sunshine indicator. This sunshine profit taking has been printed on the chart, basically telling me that the guys who rode this sell from point A to point B took their profit around this zone, hence why we saw this retracement, right? So having this in mind now, predominant move is to the upside, right? Okay, if I'm not going to say price has now retraced, am I going to continue selling? It depends on the confirmation patterns that I see. What do I mean by that? Price has retraced already. If we go on the H1, I'm sure it is already at what would have marked out as a point of interest, which is right here inside our momentum. So price sold or bought rather all the way back into what could be our H1 POI. Having this right here now, what am I now looking at? Am I looking to continue buying AUD USD or to continue to sell this asset class? Let's go on the M5 time frame to get a better picture. There are 4 systematic things I do on this time frame every time, and that is to basically mark out yesterday's high and low, day before yesterday's high and low, which basically serve as our support, resistance, supply, demand zones, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do that, deleting the previous ones so that you can pay attention to that of today primarily. Okay, I believe this is not deleting. Let me see. Give me a second, get a centered position. Okay, I'm not going to waste time on this particular one. Let's just draw what we're looking at into the price movement of today. So this is yesterday's low, which could act as a future support. Yesterday's high, which could be a previous resistance to current support. So I've marked that out, drag it down to where it's supposed to be so that it is more precise. Just bring that down here. The previous resistance that could act as future support. I've marked that. Next thing I'm going to be marking out is yesterday's high right here and yesterday's low. So right now I'm waiting to see what price does, because H1 has already retraced into a good enough zone. If I sell from that level, I want to continue to sell because H4 gave us a retracement and a probable sell continuation. Then I would like to see that price does not break above these zones. Price shouldn't break above these zones. Instead, it should keep or continue breaking structure downward. Then I would know that the sell is going to hold. But if price continues to buy, and what could have served as support or resistance levels they keep getting broken up to the upside, then it's going to give me insight to say, okay, maybe the buy is going to continue a bit further. If we zoom in a little and you look at even price movements, the candlesticks, you'd see the only reason why we're even considering this sell, regardless of the overall move, is because of the change of character that happened here. That's if you're looking at the candlesticks movement, there was a change of character, but there is no confirmatory break of structure on the H4 yet. And that is why I would prefer to see relevant break of structures on the M5 to give me that extra confidence to go in and say, okay, because price changed character here, I'm going to be willing to sell. I hope you get my train of thought or my thought process. So this is what I'm looking for. I want to see a confirmatory BOS, and then I can start to look for a sell. However, if this does not give a confirmatory break of structure to the downside, then we're looking for more breaks above, and we might continue the buy of this asset class. You can also pay attention to the fact that even as price retraced, it did not form a new sunshine, so no profit taking occurred around this zone yet. Is it possible? Okay, is it possible that price is going to buy back if we see a new sunshine to indicate that those guys who push price back have also taken profit to continue to sell? So this is a 50-50 chance that I'm looking at on AUD USD. I'm going to be watching to see what happens and then act accordingly. On NZD USD on the H4 time frame. On the H4 time frame, since the 31st of January, price had been buying, very similar to what we saw on AU. Price came, changed character around this zone. Sunshine was printed, signifying profit taking of these sales that happened. We're expecting retracement. Retracement into what levels? Let's go ahead and delete previous markups. So on H1 now, I've seen retracement. Where is it likely to retrace into? This is going to be my first probable retracement zone right inside my momentum indicator. And then my second probable POI is going to be the pullback indicator, right? So I'm saying that price would keep buying, and when it gets around this zone, provided my confirmation entries are met, then we're going to be looking for sell continuations in line with the change of character that happened on H4 and the gradual break of structures that is currently happening. If not, and these zones do not give us confirmation, we would see break of structures continue to the upside, and then we'll know who the predominant traders in the market, who is it, the buyers, the sellers, depends on if confirmations are printed here and if we see continuous break of structures on the M5, right? So similar to what I did on AU, mark out 4 basic levels, yesterday's low, which is right here, yesterday's high, also right here, and then day before yesterday's high and day before yesterday's low. What is price going to do? Now, if you look at this indicator here, this is our trend indicator, and it's basically very close to where price is. I think it's possible to see a buy continuation of NZUSD from where it is, maybe stop here. This serves as a resistance in most cases. So price could buy back in here, hit resistance, and sell back into our next support level, right? This is what I'm thinking would happen. But if this zone gets violated, where is it coming to? There's a point of interest here, another, and another right here. That is why we draw these different zones, right? So if you're somebody who is busy throughout the day, what you want to do is just to set alerts around those zones. And when price gets into those levels, look for confirmation patterns, and we'll sell from here, target our take profit to be around here. And it will be great because our stop loss would typically be above the high of the 3 days that we've marked. So if we're going to be selling from here, targeting take profit here, our stop loss will be somewhere around this zone. But if our confirmation is not met and price break structure above and retest, then we could be seeing a buy continuation of this asset class. Okay, so finally, USD CAD. For USD CAD now on H4, predominant structure is to the downside. Sunshine was printed. We expected a retracement, and now it looks like the sell is currently continuing on H1 now. H1, you can see that previous markups we did from last week are still on the chart. Price bought all the way, violated this zone, but now we're seeing sells happening. Is it going to sell back into this momentum indicator? Very likely, but we're seeing the sell happening now. Let's go ahead and delete the past and draw the future. So I'm going to mark out the POIs that I typically do on H1. 3 of them, these are my 3 points of interest. So is it possible to see USD CAD sell all the way here? Yes. Let's just look at M5. On M5, what am I doing? Same thing I did. Yesterday's high, low, day before yesterday's high and low. So you see this USD CAD. The USD CAD even looks like the clearer or the clearest of all three. I'm seeing USD CAD selling. It's going to sell and sell into 1.36148 first. So if I was in this sell, this would be my first take profit level. When price trades into the zone, I could take partials or break even and allow the trade to run risk-free. But I'm seeing USD CAD. USD CAD is going to sell here. This was our perfect entry. If you're an FXB student, you know what we typically look for: a break and a retest of our indicator, and we pull the trigger. Let's look at M1 to see the perfect level to have entered. This was our first entry. This was our first entry. Price came, broke below. This was our second entry. Look at that. Very precise. This was our second entry. Our take profit, or rather stop loss, if we had entered from this zone, would be above this level. So you're putting your stop loss somewhere around here, which is less than 30 pips. Take profit is now somewhere around here, which is 45 pips thereabouts. So that's a 1:1.5 type of trade. Not even the most ideal. At the rarest minimum, I always say you want to say 1:2, but at 1:1.5, you could break even and let the rest run. So this was our good entry for price to trade. So it's going to sell in here. If it's able to break through all of this resistance standing in its way. By resistance, I mean there's a previous resistance that could act as support to bounce it back up. If it breaks below this and is able to break below this, we're going to see more sell-ups. But look at this, the 1 hour point of interest is here. The day before yesterday's high is here. The trend is also here. So there are three levels that could really hinder price. But if it breaks through this zone, we know where it is going. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Nothing to that's it. That's basically it. If you have any questions, let me know so I can answer them before Demola comes on board to cover his part on indices. So gold was a beautiful trade yesterday. I think, was it yesterday night, or like 9-ish, that I even closed my buy on gold as well. So it was very, very pretty. Hi, peeps online. Good morning, sir. How are you, sir? Your wife and your child. Think one. Yeah. How's your baby? Kolade, good morning. Was this helpful? Can we proceed into the next half of this session? Please let me know. All right, so my regards to them, please. All right. Thank you so much for joining and giving me your attention this morning. Please do not go anywhere. We'll be back in less than 1 minute to look more into indices. Okay, thank you so much for your feedback. It was. We ate, right? Okay, so thank you for joining. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly. Cheers and God bless.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the second part of this market call. How are we doing this morning? Hope we are good. Hope we are all fine. So in the second part of the market call, as usual, we'll go ahead to look at the US market, US30, US100, and S&P 500. So far so good. I believe anybody that followed the train of our analysis since last 2 weeks have made some significant amount of money, right? Especially last week. Last week we really saw some good plays in the markets, especially on Thursday. Last week Thursday, Thursday morning, and then in the afternoon also we caught a good play in the market, which is quite interesting, right? It pained me. I'll go into the chat so we can see what I'm talking about. It pains me. Pips don't lie. Wow, I'm quite distracted. Good morning, the global man with robust cheeks. God, I beg. This hype, not too much. Good morning, sir. How you doing? Oh, good. All right, sir. Great to have you once again. Let's look at the markets together. Quite interesting. I was happy with last week's trade, actually. Very, very happy because we're able to make some serious amount of money. US30. Let's come to US30 and then start our train of thoughts from US30. So last week we had several analysis which we wanted to play out. The first one was on what day was it? On Tuesday, right? So we're just using support, support, sweep of liquidity, and then order block, right? Let me put it on 30 minutes and then explain the framework behind the setup, right? On 30 minutes, we saw something like this, a sweep here, and then a break above, right? And then we said price is going to return to this shoulder and then boom to the upside, right? So we got our first take profits from this zone yesterday, not yesterday, last week, sorry. 1:3, 1:3. Price still pushed beyond that. I mean, we saw some really significant push to the upside, right? And I mean, it's just what it is, right? And then while we have this market push to the upside, on Thursday morning, we mentioned specifically again on this Zoom call, right? As at that time, price was still around this zone. We mentioned that we're seeing this because this actually swept this former zone, and it was the closest to where price was by morning. That's 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning. It was the closest. You can see 9 o'clock. Price tapped into the zone by 9, right? So one of the things I mentioned very clearly, which I believe is still it will still be helpful for anyone trading the US market, especially US equities, is that most times you don't want your area of interest to be far from where price is, because when US30 is bullish, when it is bullish or bearish, it most times when we trace so long before it start dropping, instantly you can just test the closest order block of fair value gap, and that will send price either to the upside or to the downside, right? Using this frame of mind, we were able to scout the closest order block to what we had, and this was the zone, right? And then before even New York session, we were already significantly out of this market. 1:3, right? Came out 1:3, guys, around this zone. This is where the pain started from, guys. Came out 1:3 around this zone, right? Price tapped into this other block and then started selling to the upside. But I said also on Thursday that we would see price eventually push to the upside. This is where my heart started beating when I saw that price really gave us Shimo 1:9.5 RR, but I came out from 1:3, right? I mean, it is what it is, right? In this market, I'm not one to come and say, oh, I was in this trade. No, already 1:3, I was already out of this market, right? And I was smiling, thinking everything is good, forming hard guy, strong man, until I saw price started pushing rigorously to the upside, which can be very, very painful sometimes. But I mean, that's the nature of trading, right? You will always leave money on the table. right? So you have to be comfortable with that truth. If not, you will always be having emotions. You'll be emotional about your take profits because you would want to always grab the largest share. And sometimes it doesn't happen like that. Price could have well just started reversing from this point after my take profits, right? And then go back to my entry to, take me out if I didn't close or I didn't take that position out of the market. It's just one of those things in the market. Sometimes it's painful. It can be really, really painful, especially when you know you're correct about your bias and all of this, right? In fact, on Thursday, we are saying clearly that on the daily time frame, we're expecting that price come and do what? Come and clear all of this high. So I had no reason to close as at when I closed, right? But for the sake of, let me just take something off this market instead of trying to hold, and wait for a price to hit my overall take profit. You remember, we have this place we're still going to as the overall high to be clear, but we've not seen that yet. So for me, I just took out this and then moved on. 1:3 also on this. Let me bring it back so it will not pay me. 1:3 on this. So on Tuesday, we took 1:3. On Thursday again, we saw under trade opportunity. Those that were on that Zoom call in the morning, we're able to take advantage of it, I believe. Now, what is the current situation of the market? We've seen price attempt to break above this high, right, to touch this zone, yet it has failed. So far so good. On the daily time frame, look at something on the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, we are still very much bullish, guys. We are still very much bullish. Everything is still pointing to the fact that we would see this rally continuing pending till August 1st, right? There's an announcement for tariff on August 1st from President Trump. And anything tariff, investors are always on alert because that can send your portfolio up or down depending on how you're positioned in the market, right? So I believe this market should still be very, very much bullish till August 1st. And if for any reason the tariff, news release comes as a positive news, then we'll see this rally like serious extension to the upside, right? Are we going into, or we are already in Q3, right? We're already in Q3. Is that true? Yeah, in Q3, right? So we would see that stretch again if everything becomes positive with the tariff news coming up. But if for any reason there's serious signal, or if for any reason US breach their agreement with Chinese, or Chinese do something funny behind US, then we should see the US30 and US100 still tank a bit, right? Because that will send them into having clashes, and then investor will be less optimistic in the market, sending their money into more safe haven assets like gold, right? So these are what I'm looking at in terms of fundamental. Like you already know, I've been shouting this. When it comes to US markets, fundamental is number one before your technical. If you're not in alignment with the market, your other block, fair value gap, support and resistance, box strategy, anything at all you feel you want to use might not necessarily work, not because it's not working, but because you are swimming against the tide, right? So, and it's a very funny thing or funny place to be, because all your efforts, your analysis of hours, price will just, with 1 week, you're already out, right? Well, somebody else that is just flowing with the market, regardless of how they enter the market, they're able to catch something and make sense of the trend for themselves. All right, on the daily time frame, we are very, very much bullish, right? Price is or has tested this fair value gap, right? This fair value gap we have here, price has tested this fair value gap and is beginning to push to the upside. Let me look. We still have enough fair value gaps below. We still have enough, this enough fair value gaps below. But because price is very much bullish, I want to work with the closest, confluence around our area of interest. Let me just delete these guys. Cool. So what would I expect? What should I expect going on this morning? Price has tested the fair value gap. I want to see the bullish rally continue, right? I want to see that bullish rally continue. But then we've also broken structure in the 4-hour time frame, right? This is a pure break of structure here, a pure, some will call it change of character, some will call it whatever it is they want to call it. I want to see this. So for me, what will give me a sense to continue this bullish movement will be a test of this, then continue, right? So let's price break above here, solid, very well. One important thing to also take note of is that we didn't have a box pattern here on the 4-hour time frame. So for that, I'm still very, very much at peace with this structure. This structure is more of a lower, no, higher low, or should I call it lower high and lower low? Yes, lower high, lower low. So a typical box pattern will be like this: sweep, break to the downside, then return to this for price to continue, right? But then we don't have any sweep here. This guy here didn't sweep any area here. So we have bit confidence that if this, for any reason, we see that bullish push to the upside, a retest, it will just continue the smooth rally to the upside, right? The smooth buy to the upside. So for me, I'll be waiting for that to happen. And with that, I can now start taking my position in the market, seeing the fact that we are still very, very, very much bullish, right, across board, fundamental. All right, on the 1-hour time frame, is there anything unique for us to see? Nope. No. Okay. We have like a 1-hour mini box pattern, right? Like a 1-hour mini box pattern here, because this also looks like a box, but then from higher time frame, doesn't like this. A sweep, break to the downside, a retest. So this is where it gets dicey. One funny thing that can happen is price gets into this fair value gap, taps into this fair value gap, starts selling to the downside again. So for today, I'll be working with this zone, right? This zone, this entire zone. Okay, this entire zone, I want to work with it. For me, in fact, to be very safe, not to do what they call in Nigeria, kalu, gambling with money, right? I want to wait for price to break out of these two zones first, right? Because it's very, very possible price can tap into this fair value gap and then start selling, or even to this other block here and start selling to the downside. And also, it's very possible that we just see a break above here, retest, and then bullish movement to the upside continuously, right? For now, it's a bit dicey. It can go up, it can come down. But if we see like a proper break above these zones I've marked out, these two layers I've marked out, we can now say, okay, price is fully back to its bullish movement, and then we join, continue the ride to the upside, provided fundamental remains the same. That being said, let's move quickly to US100. Almost running out of time. On the daily time frame, we are very, very bullish, right? Like I mentioned the last time, price is in a new area of discovery, and so therefore it's really hard for us to say we want to take trades with these guys, except for, you know, we just using other smaller conferences, right? Instead of having 2, 3, 4 conferences, probably 2, and then you're good to go. We are very bullish on the daily time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, what does it look like? We're still very, very much bullish. Price tapped into this fair value gap, but I'm looking at something interesting here. This 4-hour order block looks really obvious and is standing out to me, right? Above this 4-hour order block, we have a fair value gap. Okay, price tested the fair value gap. So I'll be watching out for this morning. And then look at another thing. We have this order block here too. Our price has not tested, right? Let's be on the 1-hour time frame. Oh, on 1 hour, this is not looking good on the 1-hour time frame at all. At all. And look at the 2-hour time frame. Still not looking really, really good. It's not really looking good. What will give us that sense of trade idea will be price breaking this level eventually. Right? Say price breaks this level and then retest. So let's say for any reason price breaks above this level and then retest, then we might want to take a shot from this zone. So we have something like this, breaks above here and then retest, and then we want to take a shot from this zone, right? Although we still have another 4-hour order block just sitting beneath it or below it. So be watching out for how this market plays out. right, this morning, or I don't really have anything significant on US100 for now until I see that break for US30, break above higher, right? And that will now give me more confidence to probably start looking at other pair, US100 and US and S&P500. They've broken their own eye, right, on the daily time frame. We've been shouting that also since last week. All right, moving to S&P 500. S&P 500. Also, it's very, very much bullish on the daily time frame. We saw like a minor retracement that was on Friday and Monday. But now it's very, very much bullish. It's beginning to recover all of the losses it had. Okay, look at something, guys. Look at something really interesting. And the 4-hour time frame, this other block has been tested. All right, let me look at US100. On the 4-hour time frame, this has not been tested, right? So even this can be a funny movement. Let me delete this. This can be a really funny movement, meaning price is just going to use this as liquidity sweep, right? Price is going to use all of this as liquidity, all of this drama. Then we'll see something like this. We'll see something like this. Okay, price has moved already. Something like this. Use this as liquidity sweep for it to continue, right? Because look at this. Unlike S&P 500, S&P 500 actually tested the what? The 4-hour order block, and then it's beginning to push the upside. It notwithstanding, it might still start reversing for a sell, right? We don't control the market here. We're just looking at all the possible scenarios and that can happen, which I strongly believe should typically happen with indices. But then we've seen this tap on this other block, so we might wait for the same to happen on US100 and then watch out for buys with that, right? This happened on US100 and then take that buys to the upside, joining US100. Let's continue with the S&P 500. And then on the 1-hour time frame, what are we seeing on the 1-hour time frame? Really, there's no box here for even a sell. There's no box strategy for a sell, right? So for today, I said I'm not going to look at US100. I take that back. I'll be watching US100 closely, right? Should in case I see that sharp drop into this box for it to continue to the upside, that will be my trade play for today, right? And that'll be my game plan for today on US100. Side by side, US30, US100, and S&P 500, and then watch out for which one is going to start the movement. I want to believe US100 should move today seriously, and typically with what we have here, but then we'll be on the outlook. All right, guys, it's a good place to ask a question this morning. If you have any question, please ensure you ask your question, especially as regards to this analysis that's been made so far. So good. You can ask your question. We're about how many on this Zoom call? About 14. Adeniro Ibrahim, and your Saritin, Shafa, Shion. Wow, it's been a long time. Godwin, Jacob, Innocent, Gold, Joseph DK, Joseph Victor, Colade. Good morning, Colade. How you doing? Martins, Mira, Pips Don't Lie. Chief, I greet you. All right, do you have any question this morning before we call it a day? And then we'll meet again by 2 in the afternoon for our New York session. Is there any question? If there's no question. Was it helpful in any way? Let me know. Was it helpful in any way?
I have a question, sir.
All right.
Okay. Yes, on US30.
Okay.
Can't we use Fibonacci to determine the possible direction?
I can barely hear you.
Okay. I said, can't we use Fibonacci? Can you hear me now, sir?
How do we use Fibonacci?
I said, can't we use Fibonacci to determine if price will actually sell down on US30?
Okay. Okay. Let me go to US30 so a conversation can be very, very. Okay. Fibonacci in sense that, is this what you're trying to say? Like this?
I mean on 4 hours. On 4 hours it's showing like an hem pattern on 4 hours.
Okay.
So I'm saying, can't we use Fibonacci to determine whether it has gotten to 50% and it may start selling down, or we should just wait for that two zone that you
So
draw?
when it comes to US, what's it called now? 30 and the rest, right? It works. If Fibonacci works and every strategy works, But then you want to stay with the fundamental first. Is the fundamental bullish or bearish or neutral? Lately, fundamental has been strongly bullish. So whether we are seeing bearish order block to start selling or something that is indicative of sell, that sell can happen for a short period of time and then quickly reverse, continue to the upside. So for me, when it comes to US30, I want to know what fundamental is saying. Fundamental is saying green light on bullish, on being bullish. I am bullish, regardless of what I'm seeing from technicals, right? Because Trump moves the needle when it comes to US30. If he coughs, this market is going to reflect that, right? So I am more of the market is bullish now. I want to stay with bullish moves. I want to take advantage of bullish movement, right? Instead of trying to catch can bearish moves still give you profit? Yes, of course, if you know how to go about it. But for me, I don't want to be at the wrong side of what Trump is saying, right? Or his sentiments in the market. So that's the reason why I'm not even looking at this for what's it called, for a sell, right? But then, like I mentioned, it's still possible to see a sell, right, on the 1 hour time frame, especially on US30. This is like a box pattern for a sell, a typical box pattern for a sell, right? So meaning price can tap into this zone, start selling to the downside. And if you use your fib also to measure this will be like 78 point something on the fib level. So everything still ties back together. 78.6 level, right, around this zone. For those that use one extra fib, which is 88 point something, right, it aligns with this zone, this other block, and also this fair value gap just below this, right, for a sell, meaning price taps into that and then starts selling up. But for me, I'm not comfortable with a sell. I'm not comfortable with a sell because sentiment is not even a sell. Sentiment is still a buy. It's still August 1st, right, when it releases the news on tariff, right? If news on tariff comes negative or there are some new points that has been added to certain country and they are saying they are going to retaliate, then we can now confirm that, okay, sentiments have shifted from fully bullish to being neutral, right? And then we can start looking for, to time the market with our technical, Fibonacci and the rest. I don't know if this helps, Mr. Ashafa. Okay, so please don't like say on US100, I saw an Asian sweep to the upside, a potential box pattern for a sell, maybe selling to the H4 demand. It's print on, maybe selling to the H4 demand. It is printing on H4 supply, relevant supply. All right. Oh, more. I'm coming, box pattern. Yeah. I can see what you're saying. I can see what you're saying. And sell off from this zone into this, right? Mr. Pips don't lie. He said, Mr. Pips don't lie. I believe that's what you're saying. All right. Makes sense. It's still very valid. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining this morning. Be reminded, we're coming to Abuja by August 2nd, right? And that's the first Saturday in August, right? For Traders Bootcamp Abuja 2025 edition. So that all of you that wants to see us, we want to see you too, want to see boss, that's a Jimmy himself, want to see CJ, you want to see Cynthia, connect with me myself, please ensure you're there. I look forward to seeing all of us there, right? So if you've not registered yet, you know what to do. Visit www.valueflowtrading//TBC, right? valueflowtrading.com/TBC, and then just register. And then for our students, we've sent out special invites to all our students. If you were also attendee of the last year's edition, you've also been invited specially, right? But from me to you, I'm inviting you specially for our US market audience, 8 o'clock or 8:30 in the morning. I'm inviting you specially to come join us as we, further explore knowledge in this market, right? What it takes to actually build a business around trading, not just being a solo trader, but what it takes to actually properly setting up a structure around your trading, not just IRLs. There are many things that move beyond IRLs in this market that will make you sustainably profitable in the long run. right? All right, that being said, thank you so much for joining this morning. We'll see you again by 2 in the afternoon. I wish you a profitable trading. Cheers and God bless, guys.